Monday, Monday. Can't get that day. Hello, it is Monday, the 3rd of August, 2020, and my name is Emily Windsor Craig. And today I'm going to discuss our self-perceptions and our self-regard, looking at existence and our awareness from several levels. Okay, so stick around if you want to find out if you're true to yourself or not, because that's the issue, is how do you be true to yourself? What does that mean? All right, got that? All right, so I was having a little conversation, in inner conversation with my guidance. Okay, now I'll claim that that's God. You can say who it is, whoever it is, it is. But I learned some interesting things about myself that I want to convey to you. We were discussing an aspect of my behavior that can remain confidential. Okay, we were discussing my libido, and God, having coded human DNA, knows all about that, right? Okay, he knows all about that. And so we talked about stimulus and response, and how do we get to the plane of awareness that we want to exercise today, just today. I don't make plans for tomorrow, and I have no regrets for yesterday because we went through the same thing. Okay, we process. And what it came down to is that I decided, and I choose, and I said, well, I want to be the kind of person that I respect. I want to be predictable. I want to be trustworthy. I want to be someone that the people who know me can know me, can really know me. That I don't say this and do that, or do this and say that. Okay, I say what I say and I do what I do. And so he said back, well, that means you're being true to your subjective self, in addition to being true to your physical self. You want to be healthy and competent and able and active. That's your physical self. And that makes sense. But there's also the objective self, which is, what about the longevity? How much time does our soul get assigned into this schedule of physical life? And I had to laugh when he said to me, honey, you have outlived your welcome by at least 2 decades. You should have left a long time ago. And I kind of figured that anyway, because there's nothing going on that I don't find offensive, like, All right. So if we're going to be true to our subjective self, then the physical appearances that we project and maintain are not the whole deal. Okay. The physical appearances, whether we look nice and healthy and clean, and whether we're popular or whether we're prosperous or whether we're this or that, that we're perceived as. Okay, perceived as. Now, one of the things that has become very important to me is these psychic transactions in which there's this discussion going on in my own mind, and there's no words or voice associated with it. It's all just thoughts framed back and forth. Okay. And so I said to the one who I was discussing this with, you know, the only animal that would be aware of this dichotomy between subjective and physical reality would be a snake, because a snake is a predator that has to psychically locate its prey and then dominate the mind of the prey until he can maneuver himself into the area where the prey is. So somebody coded DNA with that ability, and human history is the evolution of the soul's ability to adopt and adapt psychic awareness and clairaudience and clairvoyance and telepathy to the skill that they can manage affairs and people and stuff. And he said, you know, I never thought I'd hear that from a human. And he laughed. All right. But when you hear David Icke talking about reptilians, okay, they are not snakes in the sense of their not being mammals, unless they want to mess around with occult phenomenology. They simply belong to a bloodline in which the ability to psych people out and maneuver people into a position of being vulnerable is an ability that they not only inherited, but that they worked on and acquired and have mastered. And that's why the Illuminati are both so effective among themselves and so dangerous to humanity, because they think like a bunch of snakes. They're predators. They hoard resources and gloat over it. They gloat over their houses and their cars and their boats and their trips and their this and their that, okay? And in the meantime, they are impoverishing huge segments of society because they're taking those resources out of circulation. And this is why I have so little respect, in fact, contempt for the rich tech leaders right now who are busy censoring the truth out of social media, because they are just snakes. They are just snakes trying to manage and control the entire human race as if they had either the authority or the wisdom to do that, which they don't. I mean, Bill Gates hasn't even been to university. He's a high school graduate, maybe. And he's a techie and he's a head tripper. And he wants to impose whatever it is going on in his head bone upon everybody else. Well, that is not a subjective recipe or method or procedure that wins respect among anybody. Okay? Predators are not nice people. They never have been. All right, so the whole purpose of religion, and people scoff and laugh and make remarks about religion, is that it's a method for broken people to get their behavior in alignment with their subjective sense of what they want to be. Religion is the method for becoming who you want to be in the world. You want to be a person who's redeemed from the evil, who's redeemed from the avarice, who's redeemed from the psychic badness of lust, treachery, and protection rackets. And so religion has a great and lofty purpose, but as we know, it has been brought down and lowered. The bar has been lowered and lowered and lowered and lowered by the churches until they allow protection rackets and treachery, and they allow into their fold among their leaders the very practices that the followers and the adherents and the worshipers are trying so hard to cultivate and pull themselves out of. You see what I'm saying? Okay. Religion's leaders have lost their grip. Society's leaders, being all about the appearance of power and the appearance of prosperity have lost their grip on subjective integrity. Likewise, education has lost its grip on subjective integrity because it doesn't, the Common Core curriculum doesn't even teach behavioral standards, thrift standards, hygiene standards, home economics standards, or trades, or anything practical. It's all head tripping in the Common Core standards setting with a whole vocabulary that has no meaning or applicability to how people treat each other every day, the transactions we go through. You know, we have our little routines. We have our routines to take care of ourselves physically, and we have our routines to clear up problems of naming, blaming, and shaming, the problems that would make us abusive if we didn't cull them and bring them into our own self-regard and self-discipline. Okay. And so this is what religion and God are about teaching us, is to have a higher standard of intention that polices our behavior so that we get along with people, so that we do good things and get a good outcome. That's all it's about, is being happy. But you can't be happy if you say one thing and do something else. You can't be happy if you lie about what you've done. You can't be happy, okay? If you take what belongs to somebody else, take someone else's labor for your own, you can't be happy if you harm people. And that's what religion is there to teach us. And right now, the New World Order wants to tell us that religion has no function or place. And that says more about the people who run the New World than any newspaper article could say, because what it says is for them, any method is their method. You know, there's no stooping too low to conquer, which is exactly what the deep state, what the US House of Representatives, what the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court now, John Roberts, what Adam Schiff and Nancy Pelosi, what the Democratic gang of 8 are trying to do is control and manipulate by trickery the subjective dimension, that is to say, God and angels or whoever they are not going to allow that strategy to win. They confront the subjective dimension, confront evil and treachery every once in a while, and they know how to do it. They know how to do it competently. So I have no doubt that the deep state and the Marxist Frankfurt School, Saul Alinsky, Fabian Society, all of those false names consolidated into one method to tear down what's civil in order to replace it with something Luciferian and totalitarian. They're going to lose. They're going to lose big. And in the meantime, for those of us on the ground, you know, none of us get out of here in an intact meat suit in any case. So the fact we're going to die is inevitable. It's coming. But if we get through the apocalypse, the Armageddon, the end of the imperial totalitarian regime that's on the throne right now, we're going to have a new world. It's going to be better. And the standards are going to be put back up there on the altar and on the school chalkboard, that behavior is all about do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Okay? If we stay with the subjective intention to make our behavior follow the intention to do good, we'll come out all right. In the end, it'll all come out in the wash. This has been Emily Windsor Craig, and I hope this thought gives you some comfort that we can have a good end to this very difficult time. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.